The following is intended only for mature audience. This evening may become a little bit contaminated with explicit language. Thus, viewer and listener discretion is advised.
Hey folks, P. Basardo here, and you're listening to the Smoke Free Radio Network.
Not only is he my bail bondsman,
Everybody say hello to Mr.
The actual only third way in our country right now.
I'm going to try to actually talk a little bit and maybe not get
some videos. And, you know, like the ones a lot of the ones that really...
Fighting, I mean, in their mind, they're revolutionary, force, right? And I mean, obviously to get rid of Stanley.
It's crazy to me, and I feel like Big Tobacco's sitting there laughing. They're like, "This is
great." I don't claim to know a lot of stuff when it comes to advocacy. I don't.
Are calling this an epidemic. We're in the middle of the third wave.
Such as VSFA, such as Fig Ramsey.
Oh wow, it's like that.
With any issue, right? Everybody has their preconceived bias, and anything you throw at them might move them a little bit, but they're going to be anchored.
There is no way to be able to turn around and look at a show like this and try to even say who they all are or where they're all from. The only thing that I'm going to tell you is these folks are from the YouTube piece that is called Failure to Launch. And you can see we've got Mr. Unbroken, we've got the Vaping Whore, that's John, Hellhound, Babs. There's going to be possibly one or two other people that are going to be joining us this evening. But this group of people got together because they are all serious vapers. They all have advocacy on their mind. They all, in some way, shape, or form, are connected and have a little bit of skin in the game. And they're out there talking and making a difference. Now, anybody that knows anything about YouTube, understand, I was on their show last night and we had a ball. I mean, it was just a riot. and it was one of those things that you just cut loose and let go. There's no other way to phrase it. It is so unlike anything I am accustomed to. However, that was their 7th show, and they already have more than 260 subscribers on their YouTube channel. For people that know anything about YouTube, in 7 shows, 7 weeks, and they already have that kind of a following, that's got to tell you that they're hitting something right. So, all of you.
Something terribly wrong.
Or something terribly wrong. Because they like to say that they are the Isle of Misfit Toys.
We are.
We are the padded room crew.
We like to have a good time.
And this was what happened last night. It's like everybody's at one time. But believe it or not, about 5 minutes and they'll sort themselves out. Mm-hmm. I was amazed. Because there were a lot of people that were on. And I'm like, nobody was stamping over top of each other. Absolutely flipped me out. Last night, we started talking about several different subjects. And, well, we're not going to mention some of them. There's no doubt about that. Not going to happen. But one had been more about the fact of information. To get information into the hands of people that need it. So, John, I'm going to let you kind of steer that side because I know Babs is like extremely passionate about what she's going to say.
Yes, absolutely. Please, John, take it away.
He's too busy on his phone. See how he is.
I know, right? Please, would you get together, pay attention to us? Hi, welcome to the group.
Chris Vince pops in the chat. I say hi because I respect the shit out of what that man does.
Well, pay attention then.
So anyway, I apologize. I was trying to be all polite in the chat. I'll put that aside for now. You have my full attention.
That'll last about 8 seconds.
Nah. Squirrel. Yeah, squirrel. So anyway, I heard half of that. So if you could care to elaborate.
Yeah, I will. Good to see everybody. Thanks, Bill Tarling, for dropping a link to their show into the chat room. If people are interested, go back and watch their show from last night and the previous shows. But last night was part 1, and we're kind of considering tonight part 2. One of the topics that we got into was talking about there are times that we have a serious lack of information to be able to give to people or to be able to spread around to people.
True.
And that's kind of what I was addressing.
Okay, well, that's definitely true where there's a lack of information at times. To be more specific, what I say when I'm speaking about that, and I think everyone generally agrees with me when I say this, I mean, generally too. The reason we have such a hard time getting more consumers to stand up, in my opinion, is that we do not give them the tools to do so. Now, when I say that, I mean we should have some kind of central location where we can give them the tools and access to people so they can learn how to advocate on a local level. When it comes to national stuff, you know, Greg Connolly, Tony Abood, those guys, they got it pretty much unlocked. They know what they're doing. They're handling that, okay? And when we know we got to be making the calls and emails to the White House, we do that, and they let us know. But when it comes to the local level, there is literally no starting point for anybody. And everyone wants to say, oh, the shop should do it. Well, how are the shops supposed to know? Why is there not some advocacy 101 program or something for people to be able to have a good jumping off point?
We narrowed part of that down to say that state orgs have a wealth of information. And I would dare say, especially at this late date in the ballgame, that state orgs will share that information with shops, even if they are not part of that state organization.
Right. Now, here's the thing for you. You have a valid point, okay? But say you're someone who's somewhat rural, especially in a state like Ohio where we have plenty of rural area, where your nearest shop is maybe 45 minutes to an hour away, and you want to jump in. Then what? My whole point being is that this needs to be top down, trickle down, and don't get the shops involved unless you. Sorry, it's not that I'm saying don't get the shops involved. Don't rely on them, because we know how many of these shops are in this for money, versus how many are in this to help people not smoke. We know this. You can see it everywhere. So if you eliminate people who are the bad actors, there's very few shops who would be even able or willing to do it.
And that's where we hit the part when we said we know there are many shops, and here in Ohio alone, there are so many shops that have that nasty word apathy that it's not even funny, because they don't care to give their consumers anything. All they want their consumers to do is to come in and buy their consumables and their liquid and maybe some new hardware and go home, or plunk down on a stool and sit and gab about whatever. But I would dare say, I would ask, how many times do you actually hear in a shop like that has apathy, how many times do they actually talk about advocating anything?
All they do is bitch and moan about how they're losing money instead of actually getting up off their ass and putting in the work.
That's where the disconnect is.
That's
because those people aren't going to contact OHVTA. They're not going to contact Florida Smoke Free. And I'll ask, and Nick, I'll apologize if I'm going to put you on the spot, but let me ask, since Nick Orlando is in the chat room. Nick, if somebody were to call, if a shop that was not part of Florida Smoke Free, would you have some material that you would send them? And I'll kind of watch the chat as we go along. Go ahead, Ashley. You look like you're just ready to turn around and say something.
I'm waiting. I'm listening. I do have thoughts, but I think that to be able to make a solid and sound judgment and opinion, I need to be able to really base that by listening to all sides. You know what I mean? And I have to be able to hear that from all different spectrums. I'm disappointed, to say the least, in the vaping industry. I think that just as a basic consumer, that is, a given. Any consumer can say that, wholeheartedly. It's very disappointing. And I know that we can sit here and say that, yes, of course, there are places and, people are working diligently since our ridiculous epidemic, and, I'm really throwing that out there pretty, bullshit wise, pardon the language. But it's like, why was this not done so long ago? We've had a decade to get it together and get this information out there for people and have this done in a far better manner. And yet we're scrambling, literally just scrambling to get people better information. And it's ridiculous. And as far as, the apathy issue, I see it just so heavily. Michigan, prime example, okay? 530 some, I think it was, actually went up there and what was it, came to the vote for it to stand up for vaping when it came down to it with Mark Sliss's, what was it, his, Adam, help me here. Goodness. His lawsuit. Thank you. Sorry. So it was like, my goodness, those were the only ones to like really come together. The only vape shop people, like the only ones. You want everybody else to just do it for you. Get your asses up and do it. Not everybody's going to do this for you. I'm sick of it. It's ridiculous. Get it together. I get that not everybody can do everything, but it's more than just these damn calls and emails to the top dogs. Get your asses up and do something more. The end.
Last night she was on fire and she had an awful lot more than what she was saying right there. And we all came to that similar kind of conclusion that a lot of consumer people, their clients, customers, are either clueless as to what's truly going on because they live under a rock, which is possible, or they have that nasty word apathy, that they really don't care because they don't think that anything is really going to happen.
Or anything's going to help even. The doom and gloom types.
Or the third part is that so many customers think that their state org and the national org is taking care of everything and they don't have to do anything. And that became a large talking point. Mm-hmm. Because it just unfortunately it turned around and sheds a light on some of the not so pleasant side of what we are doing.
Well, let's just put it this way, Ash. Apparently you hit on something hard there because Nick Orlando's exact quote is, "Those are straight facts, young lady." And Nick Orlando is someone.
Thank you. I appreciate you, sir.
I respect the shit out of Nick's opinion on anything. So, what's up, Hound?
Well, thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you, sir.
Nick is down there in Florida, and he's got that what looks like he looks like a bruiser. Is what he looks like. He looks like he's intimidating until you meet the man. And you want to talk about kind, polite. We talked about that last night, too. If people were to run into this... What's that?
So he's my type of guy, then. That's even better.
We ran into this same topic last night. You take a look at the people that are on your screen. And the general public would look at these people and go, what the hell? And even you, Beard, you had said that you people walk around you. Same thing with Hellhound. People walk around them because of the way that they look.
Yep.
I hear somebody mumbling.
Oh, sorry, that was my husband. He goes, well, yeah, because people are just so damn judgmental these days. Which is funny because I'm the one with all the tattoos and the wild hair now that I'm not in a white collar environment, but yet my husband sits here, absolutely no tattoos and anything like that, but yet he's the veteran. You know what I mean? He's the prior Marine. And not a single tattoo, but yet he's got the big old beard and all that sort of jazz.
The one thing, Beard, that you mentioned last night, it was disturbing that sitting at dinner and people, one, they were so disconnected, but two, that they would look at you and seriously want to pick up and move tables, or they would want to go somewhere different or things like that. Let me ask you, when you sit down and actually have a conversation with, let's say, John Q. Public, and they start to connect with you, do they have any other issue with you after that?
No. I've actually had people that have come into my place of employment who will straight tell me at a later point that the first meeting, they were very intimidated. I mean, it doesn't show on here, but I'm well pushing the 6'4" mark, 270 pounds. I'm not a little guy. And I'm heavily tattooed, got the beard, all that. But after we begin a conversation, afterwards, they're like, I was intimidated at first, but you're a teddy bear. Which, I don't want to go that far. But,
You're a teddy bear until you piss you off.
Yeah, well, then I turn into the little red guy with the flames.
Aaron Mills.
But, that's the thing, is it's not just inside of the vape community where the problems lie.
No.
When you actually stop, just go outside, go to a busy area. I would say a mall, but they're all pretty much dead. But go to a busy restaurant, sit down, and just look around at how many people are sitting together, but they're not talking to each other.
Nope.
And there's a lack of connection. There's a lack of respect in society as a whole, and there's a whole lot of, and this is happening in ours with this whole thing where we're basically right now the government is pushing for a ban based off criminal activities of children, while these parents are crying out to the government to do their job. Just furthering the point, there's a disconnect even in their home life. And there's just nothing there, and that's a huge issue.
Yeah. As I saw stated recently, how about instead of binge watching Netflix, you binge watch your damn kids?
Exactly.
It
Ooh,
is.
yes.
Go ahead.
Parent your kids and not my damn rights. That'd be fucking phenomenal.
It is the one. Though. It is the one thing that we talked about last night, and I'm glad that he brought it up. Is watching the disconnect, watching the non-parenting aspect of everything that's going on, and let's face it, those are the people that typically don't vape, and they don't have an understanding. There he is. How you doing this evening?
Cassidy, what's up, brother?
Good evening.
Cassidy, brother, what is good?
Good evening. How are you?
I see the hat voice tonight.
It's cold, so it's needed.
He needs heat in that garage.
I have a little heater. It just, it's little, so.
But we were talking about the disconnect and watching, as Beard said, watching how this is happening.
You keep calling Beard. His name's not Beard, bro.
I know. I just need that. He's got that beard, and I'm like, good Lord.
I'm rolling with it.
Somebody get a counter for his beard. We need a beard counter.
But he turned around and he mentioned how the disconnect was. And I thought about this after the show last night, is if that is actually happening, and those are the soccer moms and the people that don't really care about vaping, is that same disconnect happening on the customer side, to which is spreading apathy, which even if shops did carry information, how many of their customers actually care? Because all they want are their coils and their liquid and let me go home.
Now, Dimitri made a very good point about this several times when he's gone live and done his shows. The average person just doesn't want to smoke and doesn't want to deal with it. And that should be okay in theory on paper. However, reality has creeped in, and now that's no longer an option. We need every pair of boots we can on the ground fighting for us. But in a perfect world, we would. But we're not there.
No, it's not going to be a perfect world by any means.
Right, of course.
And for you other folks, if you want to jump in, jump in.
I'm jumping in halfway, so I'm not even 100% sure what you're talking about.
It's just kind of following up on things that we had spoken about last night when we were talking about apathy and a lack of people engaging, not only customers and clients, but a lack of shops that they're not engaging. They don't care, or it seems that they don't care, that they might lose their livelihood.
I can speak for, well, not speak for, but I can speak about my experience at my local shops, where when everything started to go downhill, they did not care. I went in there on 9/11 to speak with them, and I asked them, I said, what's next? And you know what they told me? They told me, we're going to be all right. We have the gummies, we have the CBD, we have this, we have that. We're going to be okay. So,
that's another point that we didn't really talk about last night, and I wanted to bring that up. Is this a common theme that all of you are seeing, that shops are going, well, if the vapor industry is going to fold, I'm going to go ahead and carry CBD and flower and all this other stuff. And then please understand, the people that are listening, this is not a judgmental thing that I'm saying. So I don't want a bunch of emails and a bunch of hate mail and a bunch of shit. All right, I'm just looking at the industry as it's going along. Because as you said, shops are changing and becoming hybrids. Do we still see a lot? Is the vast majority still mainline vaping as we know it, or are you guys seeing a lot of, and lady, are you seeing a lot of change and hybrid?
Again, in my local shops, it's mostly hybrids. Yeah. A lot of them switched over a long time prior to hybrid, and now they don't have a choice to just be the CBD and all that, because in my county it's banned. In the county next to me it's banned. My state it's going to be banned soon. I'm not even I want to be optimistic, but I know how this state works. Once they set something in motion, it just happens. That's just how this state works. It's terrible.
And I can say, and Horror knows, we've had no choice at where I'm at. In the interest of trying to keep the doors open, we have pulled in a lot of other stuff to bring people into the door. And even if they're only purchasing a CBD product, for example, they also, at least with me, they get to hear a lot more because I never shut up about this. But, the thing is we can't push aside that these people that actually own these individual businesses, they're trying to survive their leases and everything else. But there are places such as where I'm at, probably where Horror's at, even though we have, let's say, diversified our collection of what we carry, we are fighting hard. Yeah. We're not giving up. And our primary, if you were to walk in, it is blatantly obvious. We are a vape shop that carries a couple other things, not the other way around.
Real quick, just Nick Orlando's asking where we're all from. Harry and myself, we have the great fortune of being from Ohio, so we got James Jarvis fighting for us, who's an absolute badass. We know this. Hound is up in Connecticut. Vapers Garage you're in Nassau County, New York, brother?
Yeah.
He's in Nassau County, New York. And Babs is over in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
I was going to say, Harry and John aren't very far from me. We're like within a 45-hour drive.
Yeah, we legit, at any point, if we had the time and wanted to, we could literally just drive together and meet.
Yeah, absolutely.
This one is kind of a question that Bill Tarling had fronted for me. He said shops and manufacturers are seemingly so willing to spend money, and gobs of it, on promotions, events, everything else, and yet they don't drop a dime into advocacy. Now, a shop carries their hype liquid because that's what customers want. How do you folks deal with that?
Hound, I want you to go first on this one, brother.
Repeat that question again, because I was trying to read some comments. So,
the manufacturers and shops are willing to spend money, and a lot of it at times, on promotions or events in their store, or events like at expos, because going to an expo is not cheap. You know, you're talking $1,200 for a 10x10, $800 if you're lucky, and you get your booth and everything else, and by the time the weekend is done, you put serious money into it. And yet these same manufacturers, a lot of, and shops don't put any money into advocacy, and yet they still want you to carry their juice, their hype liquid. How do you deal with that?
well, the crazy thing is, my liquid company is not a hype juice. I literally am in just a few shops, but I can tell you from experience, my business partner and I have easily dumped over 10 grand for one weekend at an expo for a booth, hotel costs, making sure we had our product, travel expenses. And there have been expos where literally we sold 4 bottles. We gave a ton of liquid away to people that wanted samples for their shops and whatnot. But 90% of those shops never called. And it's crazy how many companies, and mind you, there are a ton of companies that go to expos and they bust their ass for advocacy. But there are also other companies in this industry that have flat out admitted they don't give a damn about advocacy. And it's disheartening because I see people that are literally destroying themselves, body, mind, and soul for this industry because it's their passion. And they're getting pissed off, me included, getting pissed off watching all these Team Free Shit idiots and these other people that truly don't give a damn unless they're getting free shit or they're getting paid. I'm sorry, if you don't have a passion for it, get the fuck out of the way and let us advocate. Let us educate, please. That's all I'm going to say on that. The other topic you were talking about, state orgs. Here in Connecticut, it's been crickets for the last year. I haven't heard shit from the SFATA here in Connecticut. Nothing. And I know many shop owners that haven't heard shit from the local people here in Connecticut. And it's again, it's apathy and it's lack of communication, unfortunately. So, but I'm going to leave that alone. Other than that, I'm going to, bite my tongue because I don't want to piss off too many people.
Harry, how do you deal with that in your shop? I say, how do you deal with large liquid companies or other manufacturers that come in and they want to supply you with everything and the kitchen sink and the toilet, and they want you to carry nothing but their brand, and you know, hands down, that they are not putting anything into advocacy?
Yeah, it's definitely gotten a lot harder. If things were a little different, given the moment that we're in, our push would be a lot harder to only carry those who are supporting the industry and advocacy,
which I push for myself.
Yeah, and I really wish we would have known, not known, because some of us did know, but I wish we'd have pushed harder for that in the beginning. You know, because looking back now, you see a lot of these people that were doing exactly what you said. I'm not gonna blast their names out, but they've literally done nothing but make money, and now, you know, they're not helping anybody with anything. But you still do have, and these people I will mention, you have a company like Naked, who is blasted money hand over fist into advocacy, fighting everything. I mean, I forget the exact dollar amount, so I'm not going to go into that. But it was a. Go ahead, John.
Naked's over $1 million.
Yeah, and as far as I know, from what I understand, they are changing a lot of names on their products, from what I understand, to push into the PMTAs.
Yep.
So they're going for it, and I can't say enough good about them for that. But the problem is there are a lot of people, even local here in Ohio, who there's just no way they can afford. They are putting money into PMTAs. They are in some of our local shops, but there is just no way for them to afford to go into this PMTA process. And that's the real thing. Whether people had fought or not, these bigger companies needed to push the fight harder, who actually had the money to do something about it.
It is the one thing that I know, and like you said, and John brought it up, Naked 100. There are companies that do, or have, even a couple of hardware companies that put a lot into it. Even like Demand Vape, who's one of our sponsors. Yes. Demand Vape puts a lot of time, effort, money into things.
Demand Vape, they are awesome. They really are.
Yeah, Demand Vape's great.
You know, you talk to John Glauser and he gets you taken care of. There's no doubt about it. ADV.
Business, period.
Yeah, ADV Liquid.
I'm huge supporter of ADV.
Nico Lando dropped something in the chat earlier, and I had to scroll back up to find it. He said there's 803 shops in Florida, and only 40 of them belong to the state organization.
Dude, I want to vomit at that number. Literally, that just so much. I'm like literally physically ill at that number. Yeah. That's less than 5, dude.
Don't blow a gasket there, dude.
Oh, I'm trying not to roll back.
But this,
I'm not. I will say this real quick. I feel very fortunate that I work for a company where
Mark was a badass.
Where not only are they paying into things, not only are they fighting, but I am blessed in the fact that they are the reason I got to DC, so that I could be there. Mm-hmm. You know, we couldn't take everybody. It's just not feasible. But I was there, and it was because of them, because they are one of those people that you don't find often. They're not in this because of the money. If you were to know them, you would believe this and understand it and hear their story, but they are in it because they know it's making a difference. And there's just not enough people doing that. Like that number you just read off. I couldn't even go there and support one of those shops or shop with them knowing that they just don't care enough to even try to save their own business.
When you look at that number and you do the quick math, and it's very simple, you're talking a 5% participation rate. That means 95% of the shops in Florida need to straight up fuck off.
And they expect that Nick and the people that work at the FSFA will carry things and continue fighting for their rights, and they don't put a dime into it.
Yep.
I'm going to read something. This is a chat that I received, a private message, and I'm not going to name names. I'm not even going to say where this person is at.
Mm-hmm.
But here's what they had to say. They said, I can definitely testify the shop I go to definitely never spoke a word about what was next. They normally sit on their phones and play video games on the TV and are more about getting your juice and coil or your new mod. Now, I haven't gone in there and sat for hours like I used to, but the times that I've gone in recently, it's the same thing. I see them on their phones playing their games, nothing about what's next or how they're going to survive. And that's just from a customer going into a store. How do we, even as a group, how do we even address that, let alone try to fix it? And I would ask all of you, do we even try? Or did we just look at these kinds of shops and give them the finger?
Go ahead, Hound. I know. Hound wants to say something. Let him speak.
Okay. There are 3 shops here in Connecticut that I deal with on a regular, because I know for a fact the owners of these shops have taken the time to teach all of their employees, and their employees are taught to give every single customer that walks in that door, not only checking ID, but giving them whatever information they need on a daily basis. And this is why I specifically go to these 3 shops. There are other shops locally I won't touch because it's pointless. The owner has flat out told me, I don't give a damn about the rules. I'm going to sell whatever the hell I can. And when the day's done, I'll close my doors. My boy Smurf at Deadman's Hands, right here. That man busts his ass day in, day out for this industry.
Yes, he does.
My boy Bill at Hometown Vapers in Hamden, Connecticut. Another guy that busts his ass. Another shop up in Groton, Drip and Drop Vapor Shop. I've known that cat for 6 years, and he constantly is on the ball. The hard part is we as individuals, as consumers, we're all advocates as well. We have to make a point of going to every shop we can and at least offer the information. If they're unwilling, fuck them. We shut them down. We turn the customers to shops that give a damn about this industry.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Interestingly enough that you mentioned all that, because I happened to be on a video chat with Ash earlier today, and she happened to hear me give my spiel to somebody about what they could do to help.
I did. That I did.
So I do the same thing, you know. I educate at every opportunity. I try to motivate. That's the thing. I always hear educate. I never hear motivate. Why do we never hear motivate? Where are the cheerleaders, dude? Where are the people who can help? Instead of telling them, you got to do this, explain why it's a great thing if they do it. Make them feel like they're doing something positive when they do it, you know?
Do I need to jump up every time I give the spiel and do the truffle shuffle to be my own cheerleader?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, it's on, damn it. It's on. I'll be right back.
If you're going to throw that out, that's going to be the only option.
We call that the new folks.
You offered, so...
But seriously. Yeah. Yes, we got to try to inform everyone who will listen. Some people just won't listen, and some people you can just tell by looking at them, dude, they don't want to hear it. But if you think they're going to listen, you got to talk to them. And don't talk at them. Talk to them. Motivate and educate together. You got to do both.
All right, but let me ask you, realistically, all of you, 10 customers come in.
Yep.
Maybe you've spoken to them a little bit before, maybe you haven't. But out of those 10 customers, how many actually care?
It's hard to say, but at the height of this, the things have, unfortunately calmed down a little bit as far as the media and everything else. And that's kind of giving people the wrong impression that, things are getting better. So there's that to deal with. But, at the height of things, we're talking like, October, November, when things were at their hottest, I would guess I probably had a 50% rate of people actually participating. And I know this because they were like, dude, check out this email I sent. I'm super proud of it. Or check out, dude, I recorded myself freaking making a voice message to the freaking White House. What do you think? Because like I said, I try to motivate people, and it was awesome to see. And we're starting to lose that now from one, fatigue, because it's just a constant bombardment and it's wearing thin on people. B, again, the media manipulating things exactly the way they want to. Big, flashy, whatever. Barely mention it now. So if we barely mention it, that means it's not worth mentioning. It's okay. We're good, right? Media manipulation. They've been doing it for decades. So.
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem, that it's not being talked about as widely as it was. And people are just like, oh, okay, I guess everything's okay. And they stop paying attention. And then they don't realize that every state is falling and it's not being broadcasted.
That right there.
Like, honestly, if I didn't get involved with you guys, I probably would not know 90% of the stuff I know, because it's not being broadcasted. It's not, being glorified that vaping is bad.
You also would probably be a little better off for not having heard some of the shit we've told you too. Not vape related.
Right. I
don't know about that.
Some scars will never heal.
True.
That's the one thing last night when we were talking, we got sidetracked. The entire group got sidetracked because we started talking about pizza and who had the best damn pizza. I'm like, this is wild. Okay. That was one of the sidetracks.
It's better than the half-hour conversation we had about my upcoming
Thankfully,
vasectomy.
you weren't there for the night for the BDSM conversation. That happened.
It did happen.
I mean,
yeah.
I wouldn't know anything about that.
Uh-oh. Ash has that look on her face. She's about to pop the cork and go off about something. What is it?
Fire it up, Ash. Fire it up.
My internet isn't where everything keeps going like in and out.
Oh,
I'm
so
like getting really pissed off.
I thought it
We're
was
having
just me.
500 over 500. It's like bullshit. And tech support was bullshit. So I'm like, fuck Frontier. Fucking bullshit. Ugh.
Yeah, mine keeps freezing every now and then too. So
Wait a minute, guys. Tinfoil hat time.
Like,
They're on to
look
us.
towards my husband and it's bullshit internet right now.
It surprised me. I watched her.
I don't want fucking Comcast. Fuck Comcast.
Her thing had frozen for a minute, and I'm like, it's almost. It just caught her at the right second when it froze, and it looked like resting bitch face. I'm like, oh my god, here it comes. Now what?
Oh,
So it's me like usual then. Got it.
once Ash or Red gets the rest
Got
of the
it.
going, and we wish Red could be here tonight. For those who don't know, she's not feeling well and can't be here. But once either her or Red or Kelly, when she decides to get on, once they got that face on, everyone just backs the fuck up and lets them go. Just let them fucking fire off, dude, because it's gonna be nasty.
I didn't even. I just sat and listened and watched. I'm like, oh my god. Okay. We talked
I'm
about.
just like, fuck Frontier, man. Fuck Frontier right now. Why?
Because they know you're online. But here's one. We spoke just a minute ago about burnout. And Bill Charlie and I have had this conversation. I think anybody in advocacy has had this conversation with other people that advocates burn out faster than a lot of other people.
Yeah. Last time I saw James Jarvis in person, I literally freaking said, "Awesome to see you." It was in DC. I'm like, dude, awesome to see you. Great speech. I'm like, are you as tired as I am? He goes, I'm exhausted, but we got to keep going. And that right there was just the pickup I needed. Because he's right. He was right. We got to keep going. You know, my new motivation is if I freaking am at that point where I'm about to lose my shit and just freaking walk away from this and be done, is I just put on Reaper's speech from the DC rally. I just listen to Matthew Elliott go off and I get fired up, ready to go fucking this is Sparta and rip some ass, dude.
Right, you mentioned him. Well, let's talk about things that come out, the call to actions that come out. Nick Orlando said he's got one coming out tomorrow. And it really, we mentioned this last night, and I'll bring it up again. There, when we were on break, Trump spent his time at Mar-a-Lago down in Florida. And they told people, come on, let's go down. Let's stand there. We'll hold signs. He can't help but see us. And Nick, correct me if I'm wrong, but the first day they only had 4 people show up. 803 stores and 4 people showed up, including Nick.
Dude, if I could have been there, I would have been there in a heartbeat. Now, granted, James and Nick and those guys probably would have got sick of my shit real quick. Because I'm past the point of politely chanting, "We vape, we vote," and I'm ready to get up in some people's faces. Because, like you've said before about me, and I've kind of accepted this now, I'm no longer the advocate guy. I'm the activist guy, and I'm ready to freaking kick some ass. And I know I have to restrain myself. I'm not stupid.
Absolutely.
But there are people who are good at the advocacy bit, who are good at dealing with the politicians and what have you, etc. I let them do their job because that's not my job. My job's different. That's how I see it. I'm sure everyone else to some extent feels the same way here. As much as I've had, experience in white collar environments, I'm a lefty anarchist, dude. That's not my nature. Okay? And my nature is to get up in their face and tell them they're full of shit. And call them out noise right in their face.
And we know that is not something that we can do to a lot of politicians. Every step of advocacy has its place in everyday life. Some people respond much better to what John or Harry might say. Some people might respond much better to what people that would listen to what Cassidy would say. Some people would respond a whole lot better to hell on. There's no doubt about it. And then you've got...
Wait till you see what Ash can do. Now, there was an article that came out in Rolling Stone magazine right after the rally. Ashley was quoted in that article. And I'm going to paraphrase because I don't have it right in front of me. Is that there's no waste of flavors because these kids want a nicotine buzz. They would literally vape cat piss flavor and still do it because they want the nicotine buzz. Now, that's a paraphrase. Harry and I recorded that interview. Between our 2 phones, we have the whole interview on video. And we still haven't had the time to mash it all up. But, dude, that girl, when she needs to go, she can go.
And again, this is exactly what the industry needs at every single step, every layer, everywhere we go. It just... and yeah, I can imagine what else she had to say about that.
I want to add to that, if it's cool.
Absolutely.
And those of you that know what went down before DC, I went through a pretty nasty scare. But in the same token, I made a point of getting to DC, and that's not the
heart attack.
Yeah, that's not to toot my own fucking horn. I'm sorry.
I'll toot your horn.
If my ass can make it to fucking DC after having a goddamn heart attack and make it through the day, seriously,
Where the fuck were you? Don't get me wrong. There's plenty of people who made it. There's plenty of people who, since they couldn't make it, sent people in their stead. But those of us who have been sitting in the background watching quietly for years, me, Hound, Harry, we know who wasn't there. And if you happen to see this, fuck you.
Yeah, there are a few people that have no excuse.
Yeah.
Whatsoever. They have made bank off of this industry, I'll say it, off of people like me who buy products.
That's right.
They have no excuse not to be there. And there's just no way around it. So I guess in a way I'm going to have to second that for the ones that might see it. But I understand there are people who just cannot. Whatever their case may be, it doesn't mean they're not out there doing something, though.
I'm not talking about
No. Mine is for directly at certain individuals who literally they could probably go the rest of their life and not worry about money because they've made so much off this industry and they're not doing anything. That's even worse than the people who just are kind of complacent, in my opinion.
Yeah.
The guy that walks into my shop that's like, dude, seriously, could I just get my juice and coils and let me go? I really don't want to hear it again today. That's not nearly as bad as a certain individual sitting over here who's just raking in the money and just sitting back going, yeah, I'm good. I don't care about it now.
Bill Charling brought up, and he put this in the chat, when we were talking about Nick Orlando and Mar-a-Lago. He goes, even Dimitri, meaning Dimitri Agrafiotis, flew all the way in to join that group. And he said, yet the local manufacturer, which is one of the largest in the area, which was only 7 minutes away, didn't send a single person.
I happen to know exactly who he's talking about. And that dude, I'm not going to start shit right now, but fuck him too.
Oh, I agree 100%.
You know who it is.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know who it is.
Yeah.
So right here, right now, can we all give that certain individual our universal sign language?
Go for it. There it is. You'll
of never get a dime of my money, bro. Not a dime of it.
Now, here's the thing. For the people that don't know, I'll ask anybody, are they willing to name who that person is or that company?
Oh.
If I knew,
go for it, Har. Go for it.
I can't.
Write it to me in the chat.
Yeah, I'll do that, but I can't, bro. Unfortunately, because I now have a job in the vapor industry.
I don't.
Certain business connections.
I don't. I'll just say it rhymes with CK.
There you go.
I'll leave it at that. CK.
But this
James,
is exactly.
I love you because James quit buying from his wholesale. I fucking love you, bro. I love you.
You know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to say it because I really don't care. I'm a consumer advocate. Yes, I own a business in this industry, but I really don't care. Candy King, you are a disease to this industry.
That's not the one, bro.
Fuck
That's
you.
one of them.
That's one of them. There's a few more.
And we won't fucking sell your shit, bitch.
No, I know exactly who's 20 minutes from Mar-a-Lago, and I ain't saying just yeah.
You know, if that were to suddenly pop in on a certain chat that would pop up on my phone screen right now, I'll say it.
Oh, do it up.
Here's a funny thing. When you said Candy King, do you know he was in D.C. at the rally?
Surprisingly, he was. So was it Mama-san.
When I saw him, I was like, "What?"
Yeah. It set me back. It didn't blow my mind. There's very little that can happen anymore in the vaping industry that would make me go, "Oh my God, really?" You know. But to see or to understand that he was there, And my understanding also said a lot of people ignored him because they were tired of Lambo pics and all kinds of other things.
Oh, a lot of people have ignored him. A lot of people have also ignored the other individual that was there from another company who has spent a lot of time using scantily clad models to promote his product, and really doesn't take care of his sponsees that well.
No, and again, I don't want to, like you guys, I don't want to digress and get into a bunch of name calling and shit spattering. It is the recognition and the understanding that there are major manufacturers, major players that do nothing for the industry.
Mike, I'll make you a promise right now, and I'm sure everyone will agree with me. Next time you come back on our show, and I'm hoping you will.
Oh, yeah.
We will dedicate that show to calling out every motherfucker out there if you want. I will.
Hell yeah.
I will drop names like a son of a bitch. I don't care. I don't want to ruin your reputation and care about you too much.
Oh, dude, I don't have a reputation. I'm a guy with a mic that likes to talk to people. Serious as a heart attack.
Papa dropped a name in there.
Now I gotta go look.
Papa Smurf, you rock. Thank you.
But I can name several major businesses in the vapor industry who are in Florida, who were easily within an hour, who could have sent somebody if they couldn't go on themselves for health reasons. And nothing. Not a damn thing.
I will tell you this. There are people that you wouldn't think, though. For example, in Columbus, there were people from the CBD THC industry in Columbus, Ohio with us at our rally there.
I've always been proud of the leadership we've had here in advocacy in Ohio, but I was never more proud of the Ohio vapor industry and advocacy than I was Columbus, man. Because don't get me wrong, there's plenty of people who didn't show up, and fuck them too.
Absolutely.
But there was a lot of people who did, and there's a lot of people who put hard work. And I'm sorry, James Jarvis and Jeff Kaufman, Bo McCoy, everyone else on the OHVTA set the goddamn standard for how to do this. They laid out a template that everyone could just look at and go, well, that's how you fucking start. That's how you do it.
At that given moment, we had one of the larger turnouts as it was happening.
Oh! Everyone just look in the chat. James Jarvis name dropped something. I'm gonna leave it at that.
I can't see the chat.
James, you are a fucking god. Thank you. I love you, man.
I see no chats.
Fucking hell yeah.
I only see faces.
I'll fucking say it. Diamond fucking vapor.
Oh. For that one moment, there was nothing but crickets.
That's one of the three names I had on my list.
Harry and I had we're so Midwest. We all went.
So should we do the sign? So should we do our universal sign for Diamond as well?
The eyes have it.
Wait, I gotta do it my way. Shoulder deep, baby. Shoulder deep.
So anyway, back on track.
Ooh, you got in there, Hound. Need some lube? Better use their tears. Clap them cheeks.
Diamond was there.
Yep, James says Diamond was there every day.
Okay, I misconstrued that because that's one of the big boys. I'm confused. He and Nick are going back and forth.
My apologies then.
I don't
Diamond
know.
was a positive.
Oh, we got to take our fuck yous back.
No, maybe not. Nick,
way to go, John.
He and Nick are going back and forth about who was or wasn't there. I'm confused now. So anyway, whole point being, let's get back to the topic we were talking about, maybe.
Which one?
Exactly.
Dude, I am so confused right now. I've learned an important lesson today. Going back to back with the way we do things may not be a good idea.
All right, I'll pose a different question because we were talking about call to action and burnout, advocacy burnout.
Absolutely right.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good save. We'll go that route. How do any of you help your customers, consumers, continue to try to meet the calls to action? Because we know that they come out now a lot. Yeah, and regardless, it's one of the biggest things. If you look at the cigar industry, if you look at the alcohol industry, if you look at a couple of other industries, the minute that they put out a call to action, wham, they have thousands of people jumping, just like the NRA. You know, you put a call to action out, whack, you've got people. Because ours are, we have a call to action, we take action, we don't always see an end result of our action. People become, well, I did that already. Why do I have to do it again? Well, I did that last week. Why do I have to call the White House again? Well, I just called those people. Why do I have to call them again? How do you help clients, consumers, customers understand or stay motivated?
It can be tough. It can be tough. One of the biggest issues that happened, honestly, with communication was with the public comment period on PMTA. Because they ended it, then extended it, and all that. They went back and forth on all that quite a few times, closed it for a few days, then reopened it, and that got very confusing for people. So they're like, I already did it, I thought, but do I need to do it again? And that, when something like that happens, that's where the biggest bit of confusion comes in. But outside of that, I just try my best. Yeah, you've done it 30 times in the past month. I get it. But at this point, why not 31? Why not 32? Just roll with it. I just try to push as positively as I can, because in the end of the day, it's not like I can sit there and verbally assault them to make them do it. That's not going to help. Consumers, Go ahead.
John Papa has a good question. And it says, when we try to help other states, now our emails are locked up by the database. How do we continue to help and drive the point to help from, let's say, CASA?
You want the easy split? Just so happens you can make an infinite number of Gmail addresses.
Yeah.
Okay, but let's realistically take a step back from that. Because any of us in here would be game to make 100 different Gmail addresses and use all of them. But let's talk about John Q. Public, who works a 9-to-5 job.
Yep.
He comes in, he gets his coils, he gets his liquid. He is a vapor. He is not an avid activist or advocate.
Right.
He has made a few calls, and he's starting to get a little burned out. So how do we tell him, dude, I want you to make 100 email addresses? Or how do we help him turn around and say, just, if you would, one more time, please. We need your help.
So if I could interject, what I like to do is I like to switch up in the advocacy realm for them. Shush, you were so loud. Sorry. What I like to do is I try to focus on obviously our area. I'm in Indiana, so I focus on our area, and then I focus on DC. I don't like to, for everybody, each customer, sometimes I pick a day, sometimes I pick every other customer. I have tons of regulars I interact with on such a frequent basis, so that makes it pretty easy for the most part to remember. Or I'll just ask them like, hey, did I have you call the White House last time? Or did I have you call, the governor? Or what I have you do last time? And they'll just let me know. Or, they'll ask me. My owner is an awesome guy. Mike is a fantastic businessman. And he'll just check and he'll be like, what are the clients saying? What are their concerns? What are they coming to you with? Because he knows, as far as the activism part, I'm very much into this. So I just like to switch it up. That way they don't get too burnout is my goal. So that way they're not consistently calling the White House. They're not consistently emailing. You know what I mean? I like to give them options, just like I do with their flavors. Because my shop is not set up the same as what John and Harry's is.
Your shop's so cool.
Quite a bit different. So that's why I've been rather quiet in regards to the shops and all the questions in regards to everything you've been asking along those lines. But that's just my take on what I do to try to not get people burn out in that regard. Is just I try to switch it up for them and give them options because that's what people like. They like options, right? Give them options so they're just not consistently stuck calling and emailing the White House and they're just stuck in one little realm because, like you said, they're just burnout at that point. And if we start losing people and we don't have enough people left in the fight, that they win. That's exactly what they're to do, is to dwindle, and that's what we can't have happen. If we dwindle, then what have we left? We've lost vaping, and that we're perilous at that point.
Agreed. Oh my, beautifully put, Ash. Beautifully put.
And that's what we're talking about, is how customers are burning out in advocacy. Because, and again, even when you give them choices, and they'll march along for a few months, and then they keep hearing more bad news or different bad news, it's difficult for any of us to find a way to explain why this piece of bad news is slightly different from that piece of bad news versus we've really got to pay attention to this bad news over here. I don't know that there is an easy answer to that.
From a consumer standpoint, there isn't. I have no stake. I'm just a consumer. But what got me really riled up is meeting the people who I can't, like I said, meeting the people who actually make the juice, who actually are, supplying this life-saving stuff, and speaking to them about what's happening with them. That's what really got me motivated to do anything. Hearing about what they're going to lose, hearing about, the struggle that they're going through, and knowing them as people and not just, somebody who made a juice. Knowing them as people makes it a lot easier for me to actually give a shit.
Do you find it, as a consumer, do you find it easier to connect with other consumers and to be able to talk to them versus me as this guy behind a mic, or as a liquid manufacturer, or the folks that work in the shops? Is it easier for you?
I stopped going into the shops because they carried terrible liquid. They carried all like the Candy King and, the mass produced just bullshit, and the variety wasn't there. So speaking one-on-one with consumers there just wasn't happening. Like anytime I went in there, it was pretty much dead. Like I'd sit there for an hour and talk to the people behind the counter, and like one or two in that hour, and they would just get what they need and walk right out. Like I actually sat there and established a rapport with these people, where I walk in a year later, 2 years later, they still know me. The only interaction I really have is on Facebook in the separate groups for, and lately most groups have been just crickets. Even the big groups that I've been in, the Giant Vapes group, I don't even see their posts anymore. Like I feel like that. I don't know if it's just the algorithm or what it is with Facebook. I don't even see their posts. But when I do see their posts, there's little to no interaction.
Right, brother. You're damn right.
So a lot of groups are still pushing hardware, liquid things for sale, rather than actual having anything to do in the advocacy side.
a lot of the groups that I'm in are pushing advocacy hardcore, and those are the ones that I pay attention to.
Good for you.
But still, little to no interaction. I think basic consumers don't care. As long as they're still getting their product, as long as they're still getting everything that they need, they don't care. You know, for the most part. I'm not going to say I can't speak for everyone.
Obviously.
But what I've noticed, it's just a lack of caring.
No.
See,
yeah.
John Papa turns around and he says something really... I wish more shops would do this. John, he goes, when people ask me why I don't carry those bullshit labels, I say, A, they don't do shit for the industry, and B, they're child appealing. And he won't carry them.
Here's another one. Have you ever noticed that the child appealing garbage labels have a lot to do with the fact that their liquid is absolute shit?
And
yeah. By only their marketing because their liquid's garbage? Just saying.
It's true. It is unfortunately true. And James Jarvis has brought up another point that we didn't even talk about last night. In this, everybody has said it. Dimitri, Phil Basardo, everybody. Nick Orlando has said it. James has said it. I've said it. We're talking in circles of people that we know. We're talking to other vapers. And we have to get out of our own sandbox and get to the consumer that is not vaping. If they've got this cigarette going, we need to find a way to be able to walk up to them and say, oh, hey, you know, I found a perfect alternative to that.
The number of times I have done that.
I do it daily. At my job, I've converted quite a few people to vaping. A couple people have gone back to smoking. A couple people have gone back to smoking, but most of them have either stuck with vaping or just quit altogether. You know, and that's my goal. That should be. I know that's our goal. You know.
Let's let Harry go on that one.
Well, and there's one other thing, and I think a lot of us, and not us as in what's going on here, but a lot of people are missing one little opportunity to use social media as a different angle.
Mm-hmm.
I have brought this up many times, and many of us are doing it. On Twitter, for example, I get ads that pop up on my page. Every single ad that hits my Twitter account is getting blasted with advocacy and vape stuff. And I do catch a fair amount of hate from that, from people who, you know, they're out there, they just don't care, what have you. But there are ways to, I've hijacked their hashtags.
Oh, yeah.
You have to try and reach outside. Even if you have a smoker who is, you see them standing outside and they're smoking and you approach them and they're just not into vaping, that's okay. That's their choice. Tell them that they're also going to go after their cigarettes. Get them to work an angle. It may seem manipulative, but at this point in the game, that's all the government's doing is manipulating people. So why can't I do a little bit of that back?
That's right.
I've reached out to someone who has an app that will mail craft beers to your house. Well, that's next. That's coming.
Yes,
so
sir.
I'm reaching out to the craft beer makers and telling them, hey, you come over this way. I mean, there's going to be some of us that like craft beer that will fight back with you. I mean, it just can't stop at vape because this isn't just about vape. This is one entity that they're trying to squash, and it's going to keep going and progressing so that they get their ultimate goal, which is to control everybody. Today it's vape, yes, but we can use that angle to get other allies, especially inside of harm reduction. Whether we like it or not, whether people agree with it or not, CBD, THC, these people have been fighting to get where they're at, and it's all part of a harm reduction thing in the first place.
That nothing drives me more nuts than seeing vapors lose their shit over the thought of working with or being affiliated with CBD, cannabis, kratom, and all that. I get it, guys, okay? You're trying to be purists, but in the end, we have to win, okay? And that means we need to make alliances and work with people, because like it or not, this is a war.
Thank you. Thank you.
Real quick, let me just throw this little quote out, and I might mess it up, so please forgive me. But an enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Exactly. Ding ding, we have a winner.
And I brought it up last time I was on this show. I'll say it again. What is the median income of the average smoker? It's in between
class warfare.
Somewhere between $30,000 and $45,000. Class warfare, people. It's class warfare. Don't think it isn't.
You and I might have to have a different discussion about that sometime.
Absolutely. Anytime you want, bro. I'm 24/7. I'm available.
Oh, I know you are.
It is class warfare because they're doing everything in their power in the government to basically step on us. Me being a vet, I can vouch directly from dealing with the VA system, which is so fucking corrupt. It's ridiculous. I mean, literally, being a soldier, you give your life, you sign on the dotted line, you sign away your life to your country, to serve your country. Right. When you get out of the country, the government basically goes, fuck you, you're broken, here's a broke watch, go fuck yourself. And they won't do a damn thing for us. So, I mean, yes, it is class warfare because we have all these elitist peckerheads in office that are worth millions that seem to think that their life is more important than mine, horrors, unbrokens, garages, ashes, yours, all of the little people, the Constitution of the fucking United States, Second Amendment. We have the right to make the government remember they fucking work for us. We don't work for them.
Yes.
Mic drop.
It's true. It is a very true thing. But you get into that point, then you are also saying that, yes, they're doing exactly all of that for one reason. It's the almighty dollar bill.
And
that's a whole different kind of thing if we're going to talk.
I buy the dollar. It is what it is.
It falls into a neoliberalism society where, as they oppress the people, they have found a way to monetize and make money off of keeping people poor. And there's been plenty of signs of that. You can relate to one story called the Squeegee Boys. But that's a different time and a different show, evidently.
Well, folks, we're going to take probably about the last 10 minutes and just go clockwise. And is there something that you would want to tell people that are listening or watching or will catch it later? Harry, I'll start with you.
Yeah, just if there's one thing that has happened, and if people are looking for small amounts of motivation, we went to DC. He flew over top with paperwork to ban everything that very day. It didn't happen yet. I mean, it has in some places, and we're still fighting, but people need to remember, if you look through history, people have changed the course of things. And I'll just throw out like examples such as Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks. You had Dee Snider. You had Frank Zappa. It just goes on. Larry Flint. people have challenged the government. People have won against the government. And those were small people when you really think about the fact that we have such a number. We can change things. It's just unfortunate. There will be casualties, and it will not happen overnight. But we have to keep fighting. This isn't just about me or you. This is about the generations that are going to follow us. If we don't stop, stand up, and make a difference now, who will?
I would wholeheartedly agree. Hound?
The biggest thing I can say is unify. I say it on almost every post I put on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter. I watched in DC over 5,000 people stand unified. And I've seen the complete implosion since then. We need to bring this community back together, rock solid, to stand united. I'll tell you flat out, I'm fucking exhausted. But I'm going to keep fighting until my last fucking breath for every single fucking one of you, because I love every single one of you.
John?
Oh, me?
Yep, you.
Here we go. If anyone sees this who thinks that they can't contribute, that they don't know what to do, that, be it from anxiety, whatever, remember, every person you see on this screen started this fight from the lowest possible point you could. We learned, we adapted, and we are all accessible. If you have any questions about how to better advocate, to be an activist, if you need information, everyone on this screen has social media and is reachable. Reach out to us. We are accessible. If you need to know where to go with your local state government, I will freaking get on the phone with you, call around, and find out. I don't give a shit. I am in this to win. Ifs, ands, or buts. Like Hout said, I love every single damn one of you. We are one people. We are not here to tear each other down. We're here to build each other up. It is about time we all start doing that, be it the vapor industry or anywhere else in the society. This is the hill I'm going to die on, as they say, right here. I'm going to hold the line. Other people in this industry might be willing to make more concessions. Not me. I'm done. They've taken as much as from me and from you as they're going to, and that's it.
There are days that I love to watch that guy get fired up. Because he goes on a tear, his face gets red, and you would swear he's going to have a heart attack and fall over.
Oh, don't say that, bro. There's a bad history in my family of that shit.
No, you're not going to. I'm just saying, it's just, you look like it, ooh, and off you go. Cassidy, what would you tell people?
From a consumer standpoint, I would tell them to just be more interactive. Reach out, like John just said, there's plenty of people who are out there who can help you just figure out what the hell's going on. 90% of the time, I don't know what the hell's going on. I learn from people like this who I interact with on a daily basis, and I'm grateful that I've met them. Also, when it comes to making your purchases, do research on the companies before. Like, don't just research the juice. Research the companies. Support people who fight for you. Support people who actually give a shit about other people besides themselves.
Very well said. I wish more consumers would actually take the time to do that, because the dollar bill that they're spending speaks as loud as any word that I would say. And when a company lacks the dollar bills coming in, they're going to pay attention.
Exactly.
Ash, you're up last. We're saving the last one because I'm curious. What would you tell people?
I am too. Isn't that interesting? What would I tell people? That you need to continue to fight. that you need to not stop. You need to wake up. You need to go to a vape shop. As a parent myself, you need to not trust the things that you're being told. You need to go and find out for yourself what your child may or may not be into. Go and learn. Don't be swayed so easily. Stop being, just objectified the way that you are, and allowing it to happen. Wake up. It's not okay. One day it's guns, the next day it's video games, the next day it's vaping. In my city, we're not allowed to keep rainwater collected over a certain amount. We're not allowed to vape. Have you guys not noticed that these are normal things that we're not allowed to do? What's next? Wake the fuck up. Get it together and wake up. They are going to continue to take and take and take. Until when? Under his eye? Is that what you want? Because that's where we're headed. Because that's not what I'm going to stand for. So, I'm going to continue to fight, and I am going to continue to be this horrible drug dealer that they want to fucking act like I am. And I'm going to continue to save lives every fucking day of the week like I do. And I am not going to be afraid to do it. I'm not going to be ashamed to do it. Okay? That is what I do. That is what I'm here for. That's why I took a $30,000 a year pay cut, okay? I save lives for a living. That is why I am here. All right? I am going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep fighting with you. I'm going to keep fighting for you and for your rights. And I'm not afraid to do that. And you know what? I am Big Vape. And fuck you, big government, because you ain't shit.
See, I like that people come in and they will tell you exactly what they're thinking. I thoroughly enjoy that. Everybody that has been watching, listening, or otherwise, please go to this group's YouTube page. It is called Failure to Launch Show. Okay? And when you go and you check them out, they were kind of tame compared to what they do on their own channel. And they get loud, they get rowdy, but they talk an awful lot about things that are happening in the real world, in every shop, in things that are going on the street that some of us may not know, or we may not have a capability to know. And it's why groups like this are massively important, because they're connected to the everyday vapor and people that don't vape. And it's not to say that shops aren't connected. Don't take that the wrong way.
No,
it's just you're looking at a group of people here, Failure to Launch, that is connected to other people that I would never be connected to unless I knew these guys. It's a hands down kind of thing. For all of you, honest to God, I seriously appreciate you taking time tonight to be here. Last night was a ball.
Mike, seriously, the pleasure was, I'll speak for everyone right now. The pleasure was ours, man. And thank you for having us here. And I think we did a great thing because, like we talked about last night, our crowds tend to be somewhat different. Now we've each had the chance to take our message to a different group. And doesn't that beautifully tie into to a lot of what we talked about tonight?
It does. And it was one of the important factors. It said, okay, we're going to do a crossover here. We want people to see different layers or different aspects of the vaping world. It's seriously important. Until next week, everybody, I hope that everybody has a great weekend coming up. Be safe. Stay strong. Stay motivated. We'll catch everybody again next week. Have a great night.
Good night.